Hey everyone, this is Steve Kick, MLO with LMCU, and your host of the MMLA Connect Podcast. Today I have Andy Baker on here with me, former coworker of mine, still great friends with him. Excited to have you, Andy. He's a CMB, so just a pleasure to have you today. And I wanted to let you know I did wear my hair down on purpose because of your lack of hair. So, I figured, the yin and the yang. So welcome, Andy. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself here and let you kind of give us, your take on, your career.
Okay, sure. Well, yeah, thank you for having me today. I think it's great that you're doing this for the MMLA. This is something, that we've talked about for a long time. And I think it just takes somebody like you to just kick it off and, make the commitment and doing it. So appreciate that. And thank you for doing this and having me today.
I'm super excited about this opportunity. So.
All right, man. Well, yeah. So what was it? 1999. Buddy of mine was working for a broker here in town and said, "Hey, we need a mortgage processor." And I said, "What is that? I have no idea what that even is." And he said, "Well, come by Monday and we'll get you going." So I got a job as a mortgage processor is where I cut my teeth. And it was literally back in the day when they said, "Here's a stack of files, process them," a little bit of the wild, wild west during that time. So, but it was good. It was sink or swim kind of mentality. So I learned the business quite quickly. Stayed there for a while. Actually, obviously got the bug to, originate loans as well too. I saw, what other people were doing and I really enjoyed it. And I like the work and, helping people get into homes. It was great. So continued on from there. I worked for a national lender, another small community bank, a credit union. And now I'm back at a community bank and going through a merger with a regional bank that is allowing us to still remain in community bank. So that's been pretty cool. So again, it's kind of an interesting and unique path. I've been able to do sales and ops kind of both throughout my career.
For sure.
And I know a lot of people pick, sales or ops, kind of you're cut for one or the other, or, you're kind of forced into one or the other. And I think it's been good for me. I know it's kind of a unique situation, but, I always say too, like when I'm hiring people, like I like salespeople with a little bit of ops background and I like ops people with a little bit of sales background. Because again, I think it's almost like a cliche in our industry, like sales and operations, just butt heads. And I think it's good for each of them to be on the other side of the fence. There's a lot of underwriters that have never had to actually be on the phone and deny a borrower, so
sure.
I think knowing that and being in that situation, and there's never been, originators that have to, actually go through an underwriter file. I think knowing that and kind of being in each other's shoes really goes a long way. And I think our industry kind of needs more of that. And I like that. And, when I'm looking to hire people, if you got a little bit of an ops background as a salesperson, I love it. So
yeah,
that kind of was it. It's been 25 years. It's been good. I've tried to gotten more involved in the industry as time moves on. You get to a point where, again, it goes from a job to a career and you just really want to, make it part of your life and it's become my passion. I don't see myself ever being able to do anything else. So it's been good.
Absolutely. I think you made a lot of really great points there in talking about your career. And one thing that I remember when we worked together at LMCU is you were one of the, if not the most sales friendly operations manager. You were in operations when you were at LMCU when we worked together. And I have a fond memory of you being on the boat and sending out, some stuff for me, to make sure that we could get a file, closed up. So, had you not logged onto the computer and done that for me at 7:30 on a Friday night, we wouldn't have closed. And, especially in the position you were in, you definitely didn't need to do that. You could have passed the buck, if you will, but you did it anyway. And I'll never forget that. And it's why I've always appreciated you. Not to mention you're just a good dude. But I've always appreciated you. And that was just another reason why, you are a very sales friendly operations person or vice versa. How long were you a loan officer, Andy?
So on and off, probably a total of about 3 to 4 years in my career.
Okay.
when I was at the broker, I was a loan officer there for about a year. Moved into a role at a small community bank where I actually did originate and did operations at the same time. Again, wearing multiple hats.
Yeah.
And then originated for a year there in 2014 before I came here to Macatawa. So it's been on and off again. So again, I like it. I like both sides of it. And I think that's kind of it. Like, we're a unique industry, right? Like, we're not a 9 to 5 industry with weekends off. As much as we want that life balance, like, you just got to get things done, and that's always been kind of my attitude is like, if there's no point in not doing it if it can be done. So.
Yeah, for sure. Why put it off till tomorrow if it can get done today, man?
Exactly.
Easier said than done sometimes, though, right?
That's like the big thing that, like, again, like, we're in it, and so you start to forget that there is a borrower. Like, there's someone at the end of this transaction that's making the biggest life decision they'll ever make in their entire life, And so it's like, if I can shoot down an initial CD at 7:30 on a Friday to keep a closing going next week and make these people's dreams come true, then why wouldn't I? It's that kind of stuff that I think we need to always, like, I used to tell the processors when I was at LMCU, I'm like, we are going to close 1,000 loans this month, right? But this is the one loan that this borrower is going to close. And you just got to keep remembering that yeah, we get caught up in the industry and the work, and it just becomes monotonous. But like, on the other end, there's just that family that, this could be a cash out refinance that's going to send a kid to college. This could be a first time homeowner. This could be, someone downsizing and, realizing their retirement, making it a reality. It's just, there's so many stories in our industry that we always have to remember that's out there, and it's not just the work itself.
Life-changing moments for people, really. And I think for me, I've been fortunate enough to be at a high volume lender, right? So I've done a lot of loans. And we talk about this, and they were kind of falling out of the sky for a while, right? And then when everything hit the brakes, a few years ago, and the rates went up, and inventory's been low, and we really had to, reframe our mind, I think, around, like, how important each and every deal is, right? Like, what you're doing and how important it is, and the lives that you're affecting. Like, I try to go to as many closings as I can as a loan officer, because it is such a big deal, and that's the last stamp on the process, that you can do as a LO. And it's been so wonderful just being able to, like, because you're doing less loans, it's easier to go to those closings, right? So like, you freed up a little bit of time there. But man, yeah, people are so thankful. And you don't always see that if you're not there in those moments either, right? Like, you only hear about them being upset about this and that, or you focus on that sometimes. But people really are genuinely excited and happy when this stuff happens, and being there for those moments and honoring that is really cool. So I'm glad you talked about that. So what we haven't talked about yet, I don't believe, is your current title. What is your current role right now at Wintrust Mortgage, and kind of what your everyday looks like?
Yep. So basically what I'll be doing is taking over the sales force here in Michigan. We are the first bank that they've bought in Michigan. So trying to grow and, bring in Wintrust and bring in the name and get people familiar with that. So I'll be running the team of loan officers here as a sales manager, and really, focusing more on just the sales aspect of it. I've been, obviously talking with the Wintrust people, down in Chicago. They're very unique setup as well. It's really cool. Like, there's been so many things with this merger that are not typical for most mergers. Like, they're really looking at a lot of stuff that we do and actually adopting a lot of the Macatawa way of doing things. It was kind of cool. It wasn't like, they just came in and said, it's our way or the highway type of thing. So it's been really fun. And it's odd to say that for a merger and acquisition like this, that it is fun. But again, I think too, like, any of these things, like, when you boil it down, it's just change, right? Like, it's, and so it's always like how someone's mindset is that they're going to deal with that change, so I think you can view it as, oh, the sky's falling, or you can view it as, this is a great opportunity, to do something new and start over again, or, like, to build something, basically create the narrative, and that's what I think Wintrust has a great story to tell, and I'm excited to tell it here in Michigan now. So it'll be awesome.
It's awesome.
Sure. Yeah. No, it's been great so far. And again, it's kind of interesting. Like you bring up that point, like it just makes me think too, like that, like, again, like that you and I, working at two different companies can have conversations like this. I have so many people that like, I think we've learned, especially these last 2 years, that it's better to collaborate than to compete with each other, and like, that
Yeah.
we can, share ideas and do things like this. I think it's great, because again, we're all in this together, and
Yep.
whether it's sales or ops or it's, two different companies, at the end of the day, like, yeah, we all like, just because like, if someone else is succeeding doesn't mean that you're not succeeding as well too. Like there's so much we can collaborate on and be better at together. So it's awesome.
Yeah. I think it's all in how you, frame your mind around things, right? So I think there's a lot of positivity going on in the industry at this point, once you hit rock bottom, there's nowhere to go but up, right? So, I think that's the way that a lot of us should be looking at it, right? Because I do think that there's a lot of good things that are to come from this. So, anyway, let's talk about the MMLA a little bit here.
Hey, Joanne,
yeah, exactly. Yep, the whole reason that we're doing this thing, right? So the MMLA, obviously, you've been very involved. You were the Vic Miller Award winner. Was it 2 years ago or 3 years ago? Last year. Okay. Yep. So just tell us about your career, tell us about the award, all that kind of stuff. But how has MMLA shaped you and give us your take on what the MMLA does for you and for the industry.
For sure, man. So again, you go back to like, it was like 2008, 2009 with the mortgage crisis, and I'd been in the industry for a while now, but like, it was one of those defining moments where I saw how bad the mortgage industry was portrayed in the news and the media. Cause I mean, we were the cause of it all, right? The mortgage people just ruined the economy. Anything that's going wrong was our fault at that time. Right. And so it was one of those things where I'm like, look, man, if I'm going to make this my career, like I want to be more involved. Like I want to be part of the voice that's out there. And again, it's writing the narrative, like I want to be part of that. And so, obviously I started asking around, and of course, as soon as you ask around about joining the MMLA, I mean, they're all in.
Yeah.
But so I joined the state board back then, and worked with the MMLA. And then in 2015, I became the state board president, which was a great experience. And again, I think from just the networking aspect of it, it's an awesome thing to get involved with. I can tell you, I've gotten more career opportunities from being in the MMLA than anything else. You meet so many people across the state. You're involved in so many different things that it's just a great networking opportunity from just that level alone, if you want to look at it. But then, of course, too, like on a state level, it's our advocacy. It's our voice in Lansing. It's who's gonna, push the types of legislation that we want to see, or help us do that in the state. And from that side, it's great. And then from the third leg of it, it's obviously like the educational piece. There's things like the monthly compliance calls that I'm on, that I learned so much information, and it's literally people just volunteering their time to share that kind of stuff with you, which is awesome. But then all the different webinars and conferences and events that we have from an educational standpoint. So really it's three tiers. It's that networking, the education, and the advocacy that all come together. And again, I think it's just, if you're going to be in this industry and make this your career, that you should be involved like that, that you should know these things. You should know who the other people are in the industry. And it's been great. And I love it. I can't thank it enough. And I was very honored to get the Vic Miller Award last year. That was very unexpected, but it's cool.
Well, you've obviously given a lot back, and I've touched on this before, but, I think that's a common theme. You kind of get out of things what you put into it, right? So, you've put a lot of time, energy, and effort into the MMLA, and hopefully it seems like it's giving back to you, with your career and where you've gone, and all the opportunities that it's, presented for you. So it's, our honor to have you continue to, be a part of the MMLA, and I just think that, as we continue to go down this path, you're right. Being a professional and all the different opportunities that the MMLA presents is, hey, if you want to be a professional and you want to take your career to the next level, join the MMLA, right?
For sure.
So
And I think it was awesome too. Like, so we just had the annual conference up there in Boyne, and it was so interesting that there were so many new faces that I hadn't seen before, which was great, you know. And again,
yeah,
like as some of us get on in age and in our careers, you know, it's awesome to, you know, pass the torch to the next generation. And it's good that there are younger people in our industry now that are coming up and, you know, making careers out of this. You know, we were an aging industry. I think we still are an aging industry, but I think it's
yeah,
trying to get to that next generation to make them realize that, you know, that this can be a career, that this is a great place to work, you know, and a fulfilling career for someone's life. So it's been good to see the new faces showing up at the events. So it's awesome.
anyone who's a fighter and
Yep.
continues to come back, you know, because that's what it's about, right? Things are going to go up, things are going to go down, and you just have to be able to roll with the punches. And we know that in the mortgage industry. We wouldn't be doing you justice, Andy, if we didn't ask you why you do what you do, right? Give us a little bit about, you know, your background and what you do and what Andy does outside of the office that keeps you fueled up and your cup filled up, you know, when you come back to the office or when you are working.
Yeah. Again, like kind of hit on it earlier, you know, I really just enjoy the work. I like helping people accomplish their dreams, whether that's, you know, a homeowner, a borrower, or, you know, my employees or people in my network. You know, I think as I get older in age, I just really enjoy that mentoring and coaching and being able to give back. Because you think about it, like we were saying with the MMLA, like there's been so many people that have helped me throughout the years that I really enjoy being able to do that for other people, you know, like giving
Yeah.
back and just helping people, mentoring and coaching them. And again, yeah, from just the job aspect of it, it really is something very cool. I mean, like you think about like the billions and billions of dollars, you know, like even in this year, like we're still going to be like $1.5 trillion worth of volume nationally. You know, it's like, that's just an insane amount of money that's
Yeah.
moving around that we get to help people, you know, again, get into their homes, find their dreams, you know, change their lives really. And so to be a part of that is just, it's humbling and it's awesome. And that's what gets me up every day. And then, yeah, on the weekends, you know, it's time to sit on the boat and, and recharge and unplug. But, yeah, no, I've enjoyed it, you know, and I look forward to, you know, hopefully keeping my career going here for another 25 years. So we'll see.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. So, we definitely have to hit on this. You are a CMB, and I've been lucky and fortunate to interview a few other CMBs already. But we need to hit on what is a CMB, why it's important, you know, a little bit about the MBA and what they do and our affiliation with them through the MMLA. Please tell us, take it away, Andy. Let us know the importance and what being a CMB and those three little letters, you know, why it's so important in our industry.
Right. It's cash money, baby. That's an old inside joke for some
I
people.
like that. I don't think I've heard that one yet.
Oh,
I
really?
like that.
There's a story, but it's not my story, so I can't tell it. But so CMB is a certified mortgage banker. So it's a designation through the MBA, so the Mortgage Bankers Association, which is a national, you know, association. So like the MMLA is this Michigan State Association, and so the MBA is the national association. And so what it is basically once you reach like a certain point, like so you need 5 years in the industry, you need so many points for education, so many points for participation. So like any kind of, you know, courses you're taking, but then like conferences, being in the MMLA, sitting on boards, sitting on committees, all that kind of stuff adds up your points. And once you get 150 points, you're allowed to enter into the course. And so if you're ever curious about your points, Teresa Furman, who's from Michigan, but she works for the MBA, she is more than happy to walk you through that. She can add up your points for you. Joanne can help you, you know, with all your kind of stuff that you've signed up for through the MMLA. So once you get your 150 points, you go into, and most people take the prep class, which obviously I would recommend, because what the prep class does for you is it really helps you get back into that student mind frame and like taking tests again. Because for most of us, like the last test we took was probably about 30 years ago,
Yeah.
you know, or at least 15. So So it helps you with that. And it does, it's based on your knowledge, but it's really more just helping you learn how to take tests again and prepping you for the course. So it's like your SAT prep class that you took back in high school. So once you do that, then you take the written exam, and it's typically a 6-hour exam covering all aspects of mortgage again, from, origination all the way up through, servicing, compliance, audits, and, mortgage current events as well as a big part of it. So we pass that, pass all six sessions, and then you have to take an oral exam with a panel of current CMBs. And so what this is again, it's really just a conversation like this, but we're going to talk, hot topics in the mortgage industry, and you need to know like how the MBA views those topics, what your personal view is on it, and then just what's going on with it. So it's really like you need to be able to give like that elevator interview with somebody. If you're in the elevator and somebody said, "Hey, what's the deal with the NAR settlement?" Like you can kind of like say, where everybody's position is on that, how is it going to happen, what it's going to affect, things like that. So it's a comprehensive thing. And there's about 30 of us in Michigan, I think about 1,400 people nationwide. So, it is a pretty elite group, but I say that with the caveat that more people should be going for it. I think there's this like perception out there that it's like just so difficult, that like, oh, you can't, I can't do that. I can't possibly, I wouldn't be able to pass the test. And I mean, it's attainable. It really is obtainable. It's a commitment for sure. Most people, it takes them about a year. You usually commit about a year to doing this, like taking your prep class, studying, taking the exam, taking your oral exams, doing all that. It's about a year. But again, I would highly encourage people that if you have any interest in it at all, is to reach out to a CMB. They'll tell you, we want more CMBs. And I think we should have more CMBs in the industry. Again, like we were talking, if you're going to be in this career, in this industry, like you need to be a professional and you need to be at the highest level. And so that's where I would just encourage more people to at least look into it. Again, it's a big commitment. I'm not going to lie on that front. Like you do have to set aside time and be ready to do it. Right now, it's probably a good time to do it. You don't have 30 Fs to take every day, so it's a good time to do it. And again, I think it's well worth it. Again, it's the same kind of thing. Like from the people I've met in that group, I have lifelong friends. Like literally every year we get together for dinner still as a group. And then, the advocacy part, like, a lot of CMBs, do a lot of advocacy. I go up to DC. I'm going to start going every year now because I just loved it. It was a great conference and you feel like you're actually making a difference in the industry. It's really a good society to be part of. But again, I highly encourage people to look into it, research it. Yeah, go ahead.
So what you're saying is it opens a lot of doors for people, sure. Right? Yep. It's not like it's the only precursor, that to being successful in the mortgage industry, but it definitely opens a lot of doors and creates a lot of opportunities for people. For sure. I hope to get my CMB in the next few years here. Like you said, I've got to set aside some time for that, outside of all the other things we have going on, but it's obtainable. I know I can do it. You just have to, find the time and set it and make it a priority. Right. Exactly. And I honestly feel like for me, the busier I get, the better I get at scheduling my time and being mindful of my time. Right. When you have less of it, becomes more important. Right. So, I'm trying to take that mindset into this and also speak it into existence that, hey, I can make it happen just like anyone else. So
that's awesome. Cool.
Yeah. Well, so as we maybe wrap things up here, Andy, I thank you for your time, but I always want to ask everyone that comes on this podcast, before we go, leave us with your positive take or positive spin of what's going on in the mortgage industry or just what's going on in general.
Sure. So like the light at the end of the tunnel seems to be getting nearer, like I think we've obviously through the worst of it, knock on wood. But again, so you talked about it earlier. So I am a boater, and so there's a saying in boating that bad weather creates great sailors, and I think for us that have made it through this storm, we're going to be better on the other side of it. I think people will look back at this. And again, like you were saying earlier too, like when you were that busy, it was like, yeah, you were just taking phone calls. You were just going through the motions almost because you had to, like it was a necessity just to keep going.
Yeah.
Where I think the last 2 years, people have refocused. They've realized that, hey, I need to step my game up. I need to go find these loans. I need to become a better salesperson. I need to, learn new techniques, new things. And people are better from this situation. I know, obviously, everybody made money hand over fist in 2020, 2021, but I think as a person and as an industry, I think we're going to come out of this better than we were going into it. And again, the collaboration that's occurred, you see all these different things on LinkedIn and on social media, where people, we're all in it together type of thing, and it's, I think people will be better off because they weathered this storm. So there's your positive to it. It's challenge, it's a change, and it's just, again, it's your mindset and how you come out on the other end of it. So there you go.
The strong will survive, right?
Right. Wouldn't be better for it too.
Yeah,
Not just survive,
definitely.
but thrive. So it's good.
Exactly. Hey, Andy, I want to thank you for your time today. I appreciate you. You always bring a positive vibe and a smile to whatever events we have going on. But again, Andy Baker, Wintrust Mortgage, CMB, great guy. Connect with him, LinkedIn, social media, and continue to listen to us. We love bringing you topics here, the MMLA Connect podcast. So tune in next time, and thanks for listening.